Welcome to the Austin LGBT Chamber of Commerce podcast. I'm Tina Cannon, your host and CEO of the Chamber. On today's pod, we're going to talk about local business news. In the headlines this week, Austin is looking to jumpstart some small-scale housing projects with some rule changes finally. And then new plan for downtown streets, what you need to know. And the SBA, on a side of good news coming out of the federal government, is looking on new loan programs to go out to small biz. Hang on, we'll be right back. Hello, crew.
Hello.
Hello, Tina. Hello, Colton.
Good morning.
How are y'all?
Amy's not with us today. She is knee-deep in all things membership services. If you need a service, give Amy a call.
She's right there.
Happy South by Southwest.
My legs hurt. My feet hurt. My hips hurt.
Yeah, hips don't lie. Wait till you get my age, and things that you didn't know you have will hurt.
Yeah, I think 30 is the age that you can no longer wear Doc Martens at a conference.
No, but it's like wearing cement
like ankle
shoes.
weights.
Yeah. I've never understood those shoes. They were popular back in the 80s when I was in the cool kid crowd. And then thankfully they went away, and now the cement blocks are back.
Yeah, well, no, I loved them as a teenager. Yeah, which was like, late 80s, early 90s.
As long as
really
those jelly
cute
shoes don't come back. Remember those smelly things?
I had some of those too.
The smelly jellies.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, I mean,
gross.
is it like we used to have them where they had glitter baked into the
Yes.
gel? Yeah. I used to love them.
It was to make you not realize how bad they smelled. Distract you with the glitter.
Horribly uncomfortable.
Horribly
Cut your feet for the first month.
Yeah.
And then they're fine.
We'd have plasters. We call Band-Aids plasters in England. You know, like your feet are covered in plasters.
Yeah.
Trying to wear your jelly shoes.
But good South by. We had a good kickoff party. Y'all
Yes.
stayed longer than I did.
Oh, yes.
A little bit longer. Yeah, Colton and Amy kind of were up there all night. And
I shut it down.
it's awesome. And like your graphics on the cubes above.
Oh, they're so cute.
pretty. So good. Well done.
Yes, and shout out to Just Works
Yes.
for sponsoring the party.
Amazing. Yeah, so we saw Just Works yesterday as well, don't we? They're such
Yes,
great
we did.
supporters of our Austin community. and
I
all
just
the
love that
things.
when I left the party at, I don't know, quarter of midnight, there was still a line out the door. So I hope everybody had a good time. It seemed to have been one of the poppin' things during South by Southwest this year again.
Definitely. And then the next morning, y'all woke up earlier than I did.
Yes.
I walked
bed
and
early.
sweated on my way on the trail down to our panel that also hit capacity.
It was fantastic. Thank you so much, Regina's on Congress. I was having this freak out moment with Jeff, who volunteered to video the whole thing as well. So if you missed it live, you can see the video recording. But Jeff and I are outside the venue, and like Tina slacks me and go, "You did confirm, didn't you?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Like my heart started racing, thinking, "Oh my God, have I failed the panel?" But no, thankfully they were there. They opened it up for us, and we had a great crowd, amazing panelists.
Yeah. I was turning people away at the door. I probably turned a good dozen people away at the door.
Yeah.
Me too. And it was cute to see, like, there was one lady that came by and took a photo of the flyer with her cell phone and was like, my son would love this. He would be so happy. I was like, where is he? Go grab him. Come back. And thank you, Dezanu Innovations, for sponsoring ASL interpretation for the panel.
Yeah, ASL and voice.
Yes.
And which is, I want us to do a session with Dezanu anyway, but I think it's really fascinating, like watching the interpreters manage the space where you're interpreting for one person. And so you've got somebody who needs to look at that person with a microphone, and they need to sign to that person, and then two others signing off for the audience. Like, I just think it's so magical about how they work together as a team to make that happen. It's really interesting.
That's great. Accessibility is key.
Yeah.
South by is coming to an end. The markets this week were all over the place.
Yeah.
All over the place. We saw a gigantic drop midweek this week on the back of the tariffs hot potato. It's like they're on again, off again tariffs, and the markets took a giant dump as a way to kind of, I think, signal, look, if you're not going to decide, we're going to decide. Like, this is not good. And so then it was the lowest since 2022.
Wow.
Biggest drop off since 2022. Rebounding a bit by the end of the week. But the tariffs are still playing this game back and forth.
Yeah.
That genius
Do you
that
think
we have
that
up there.
lessons are going to be learned?
No, lessons have never been learned ever in that human being's life. There's been zero accountability. This is what zero accountability looks like. But yeah, hopefully today they take a little jump back up. But the nice thing is if you are invested, which you should be in the markets, as long as you're not selling anything on the day the market's down, you didn't lose anything. Play the long game. Markets long term always go from left to right.
We're playing the long game, aren't we, Colton?
Yes.
It'll be just fine, but just fine. Let's take a look at some local news headlines. Home builders in Austin may have easier time trying to subdivide small residential housing projects after recent tweaks to the city code. The council voted on March 6th to change residential subdivision requirements for projects of 5 to 16 units on small lots in the city. So if your property is an acre or less, the move eliminates drainage studies and related requirements to site plans. That the property doesn't need that. Like, that's just an expense that happens for small homeowners that are treated as if they are large commercial properties. And so they move that out of the way. Savings could be anywhere from $10,000 to $100,000 on a project. Another big change is that it will require a 90-day approval of the site plan for the residential infill project. So these revamp requirements will take place later this summer in May, but the hope is that it promotes residential development and housing affordability in the city, really aimed at complementing changes under the new Housing Affordability Act called the Home Initiative that was passed earlier last year. But it's a simple equation of supply and demand. You just have to increase the supply, and I'm glad that the city is making it simpler for smaller residential, both producers and homeowners, to decide what to do with their property and to pave the way so it's an easier way to get the structure built.
Yeah, so it sounds like an overall good thing, hopefully, for
I'm sure
our
that
community.
there's many of those NIMBYs that are like, no, you can't build that in my backyard. We can't have that. Can't have those kind of people living here.
Yeah, there are always those people. Get off my lawn crowd.
Yeah, I live in a pretty NIMBY neighborhood. For those listening, it's the not in my backyard. That's what a NIMBY stands for. Those are the ones that get off my lawn. They're the ones that are like, hey, I got my place on Shoal Creek in the 70s, and I don't want anything else coming in here but this cool ass house that I get to live in. Like, come on.
I saw somebody who had a flag in the front yard of one of their large properties, and it said, like a good neighbour. So it was like riffing off State Farm. Like a good neighbour, stay over there.
Oh, I like that.
I thought, well, that's so Texan. I thought, which neighbour are you talking to? Like, I saw this around Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, are you talking about your neighbours in your neighbourhood? Or are you talking about neighbours in another country? Or like, what is going on? Right? I mean, yeah.
That kind of reminds me of the
rude.
giraffe museum, whatever,
What?
that we rode by on our bike tour.
What are you talking about?
The
Giraffe.
weird
Oh,
museum.
yeah.
Where, I don't know, off of South Congress somewhere.
South Congress, between like South Congress and South Firth, there's a gigantic home.
Yeah.
That's also doubles as a museum.
Okay.
Yeah, and he was mad because the neighbors wouldn't let him build something.
And so he has a giant statue of a giraffe that pees
Yeah.
with the stream facing the neighbor's
Oh my
house.
gosh. I have
Keeping
to go
it weird.
see this.
Keeping it weird,
This
Austin.
sounds amazing. Oh my god! It reminds me. My friends in Round Rock, they have a natatorium. Do you know what a natatorium is? It's basically an indoor
Natural light.
It's a Greek
A redneck party.
Yeah.
It's actually a Greek word for an indoor swimming pool. But they have one of those little baby, what do you call the statue?
Yeah.
And it's right on the roof, and you turn it on, and it just basically pees water into the swimming pool. So yeah, we got to go see this giraffe. But yeah. Sounds like a fun play activity.
Get off my lawn. There's some kind of like Dateline-y show. It was like my neighbors who are like bad neighbor or my neighbors and asshole
like roommates.
or something. Yeah. And there's
What was that?
where they like end up killing each other and it becomes a show, because fortunately we love our neighbors. They're good peeps. Keep them right where they are. The Urban Transportation Commission voted unanimously to recommend that the City Council approve a new strategic plan from the Department of Transportation and Public Works for the streets of Austin. It's small, but yeti. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Words?
Yeah.
Words, Tina?
Words are tough. It's that public education doing me some good stuff.
Give us the news, Tina.
The new plan, called the Austin Core Transportation Plan, or ACT, would function as an attachment for the wider Austin Strategic Mobility Plan. According to the presentation, it would seek to recalibrate downtown roadways around a host of goals, including walk and bike ability, equity, green infrastructure, and safety, while also setting a priority rankings to certain streets and projects over the others based on those criteria. The hope is that we're able to have more of a live, work, play, and a better use of space within the communities that we all live in. Here's hoping.
Sounds fun for everybody except for those big dually trucks.
They don't need to be downtown.
They don't need to be downtown. Yeah, there's talk about, like, at some point they're going to be looking at how to revamp that section of Congress Avenue into
into
like
that.
a plaza.
Oh,
That north end of Congress Avenue up by the Capitol.
Yeah, and they said
so nice.
east to west traffic would still be able to move as normal, right?
Right. Yeah, through a couple of streets.
Yeah.
Would be blocked, but yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm into that.
Makes me think of like a nice calm Times Square without the billboards.
I know. I like seeing people eating outside and like enjoying being outside.
Enjoying
It's
their
nice.
space. So you're just not always, you go to other major cities like Houston and everybody's just inside or flying 120 miles an hour on the highway. But the nice thing about these plans is they're community driven, right? This is a community volunteer board of the Urban Transportation Commission. And then they go through a deep dive with city officials helping them out as well. And they spend a great amount of time going through this. And they give it to the council, which of course is a duly elected council, and that goes through processes. But the upside is that you get to really have your voices heard, which always surprises me then when the curmudgeons turn around and frickin' sue. Like, you've had plenty of chances to make your voice heard. And you know what? They didn't go your way, so pull up your drawers and deal with it.
They just want to be louder.
Yeah, they just want to sue and raise money. I don't know. So, no doubt there'll be a lawsuit off of this at some point.
In the meantime, I just want to enjoy that plaza with a few umbrellas,
yes,
a couple of plant pots,
little
and
coffee,
some little coffee, and like water spray, and we can just enjoy.
Read my Kurt Vonnegut and or George Orwell and just wait for the world to end.
It'd be beautiful.
Amongst all the negative news coming out of the federal government with the slash and burn, actually the chainsaw, the SBA has good news. They are expanding loan programs in the last couple of days that are hopefully going to be making an effort to cut $100 billion in regulation. The hope is that they can launch the red tape hotline that will be a way for small business owners to share feedback about onerous regulations. So if we're going to slash some shit, let's slash some shit that matters. And then on Monday, they also said they want to expand the use of their working capital pilot program as a Biden era. I'm tired, y'all. South by. I can read. I swear to God, I can read. A Biden era program that's designed to fund inventory purchases and other short-term needs. Additionally, the SBA said it wants to reduce barriers for its 504 loan program, which offer loans through a community development corp to purchase or construct buildings or newer facilities, buy land, or purchase heavy long-term machinery, equipment, and other uses. So SBA is making some serious news. They are still going to be cutting some field offices. They're going to be cutting some workers, rolling back some programs. But they did set up this hotline. They want to hear from you what's shit and what's good. And then they want to expand the use of this fund program. So there's still a little sliver of good news coming out of the federal government.
It's pleasant to know that the hotline is to give your opinion on bills and programs as opposed to your friends. So that's nice.
Is that right? That seems to be the direction that we're going.
And also this is government officials with jobs doing things.
Yeah. I mean, the SBA has always been very, very on the forefront of small business. A lot of the times what I'll hear from members and from small businesses is that, hey, this program is well intended, but here's the 3 reasons that are roadblocks for me to be able to use it. They're very good about listening and making adaptations. So this is a chance, if you've ever been frustrated by an SBA program, this is your chance to be heard, because if they're going to slash something, at least have your voice heard about what it is. And then take advantage of the new loans that are out there from the Biden era.
Oh, I'd love to know what is said on that hotline, like what the feedback they get. Do you think that's public knowledge?
Yeah, it probably sounds a lot like that. That is a muskox, if anybody wants to know.
You just got to put in a bunch of FOIA requests.
Somebody did. One of the news agencies put in a bunch of FOIA requests.
I think it was ProPublica.
Yeah, it was, for all things coming in and out of the doggy office.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a little shout out to our friends, Kara, for being here in Austin.
Mm-hmm.
Kara, you failed to look me up when you were here in Austin. I'm still going to listen to your podcast, but I'm going to do it mad.
Yeah. I think you need to come on our podcast to make up for it.
Well, let's jump into our new segment, Fun Facts, with Fiona.
So I really wanted to choose something that was related to South by Southwest, and I have decided to uplift a film that I just saw called The Spies Among Us. And actually, the characters in it's a documentary, and it doesn't actually have anything really to do with being LGBTQ+. However, the lead person in the documentary is a guy called Peter Coop, who is gay, and he's married with his husband, and so that's the queerness of the entire story. But this film is actually made by my dear friends Jamie Coughlin Silverman and Gabe Silverman, and it's really, really fascinating because Peter discovered, and this is where it gets like really kind of a bit down and sad, but he discovers that his brother worked for the Stasi, and actually, and he has this horrific moment where he realizes his brother was giving away information about his family to the Stasi. And so it's a really interesting documentary learning about East and West Germany and the fall of the Berlin Wall, which happened in 1989. And I remember as a kid watching it on television and not really knowing much about it. So I just got very well educated, and it was a gay man leading the documentary, and two of my dear friends who I've made films with before. And it was their film that premiered at South by Southwest. So I thought the world of our Podland audience needed to hear this.
I love that. I went to the
them.
panel and met them, but I did not attend the screening.
No.
I had something else. But I'm excited to watch the film because it was a very interesting conversation.
Yeah. And you met Peter, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah, and he actually, okay, so the first part...
I didn't even realize he was gay when I met him.
So it's another point, like sometimes you can be gay and do things that have nothing to do with being gay and be a badass.
Yeah.
It's like we just want to live our life or something.
I know.
Sometimes you don't have to like put that at the forefront.
Every day is not a parade?
No, not every day is a parade. But
I think every day is a parade in my world.
yeah, it is. If you work with Colton, it is.
Lovely. I'm a World War II history buff.
Yeah.
And it's such an interesting time, and honestly, the stories of the queer community during that time are really not being well told,
right?
As part of just the general history lessons,
right?
So the classic triangle. Right? Most people don't realize that was the mark that were given to those who were accused of being back then homosexual. Yeah, that they had to wear on their jerseys or their uniforms.
I bet there could be a whole documentary about the queer experience of the Stasi. I bet that's a whole other topic that this film didn't focus on.
And it rolled into the U.S. right during the Lavender Scare when they were quote unquote ousting communists, and then you had McCarthy doing the, if any of your coworkers are gay, tell us, and you'll get brownie points.
And one of the additional very disturbing, sad things about the film that it elevates is the conversation of how it relates to today, where those in power, those in power have access to all of our data, and we're actually like informing upon each other all the time in a digital landscape now. Sure. And in fact, one of the guys that they interviewed was Karl-Heinz Engelhardt, who was like one of the senior leaders of the Stasi, and he said, if we had the tools back then that exist today, we'd be in heaven. Like, that's kind of dark.
Frightening.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So
That is frightening.
it is. So that was interesting, reflection on how it relates to what's happening today and what can we learn and what can we do to protect ourselves and make sure that we're not just like.
I mean, I know the guy has all of our data now.
Uh-huh.
And I'm just hoping that he's an idiot and doesn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
But it is like the 19-year-olds that are like bouncing around on Red Bull up there that are giving me like heartburn. Because how many times have they sold that data over? Or
Correct.
had their data, had their systems hacked, and now, right? It's, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just going to reinvent myself. I'm just going to start over.
And
Let's say everybody's got a reset. Everybody gets new numbers. Let's just
push
it's
the
just a
button.
reboot. Act like we're a Windows computer. Reboot.
Into it. Turn it off like a light switch. Where's Amy when you need her?
Like a light switch. I mean, that's why I have to focus on my meditation and realize that we still breathe and all of this is just an imagination in our brains.
I just, one day, like, we're going to wake up and somebody's going to have hacked into like all of the banking across the world and we're all going to have zeros. Right?
Oh, we learned about
Like,
that
that's
a little
frightening.
bit yesterday too, didn't
Oh,
we?
yeah.
Yeah. At the
Human Rights
Expo.
Foundation.
Yeah.
What?
Well, yeah, it's about human rights.
So they had the laundromat, the dictator's laundromat. And
Oh,
then
this
they
is
had-
an exhibit
Yeah, the
Yeah.
expo.
at South by. For
And
those.
then they had
Well, they had
it's like about crypto and decentralized crypto. Very much over my head, but it was interesting.
Well, they were separating crypto and then the decentralized banking and realizing that I forget how many numbers, like 50 odd countries around the world where the government controls all the banking system and how dangerous and bad that is.
It's completely dangerous bad. And crypto's great in case you need to launder money. Perfect way to do it. Or you need to bribe elected officials. Step right up and get your crypto.
I'm so pleased you brought this back up to a positive. I want to end it positive.
Events. We got some fun, positive events ahead. What do we got?
Yeah. Speaking of resetting and making your voices heard, you can join us and the Texas LGBTQ plus Chambers of Commerce for our Day at the Capitol on March 24th and 25th. We will have a reception on the 24th, and then our Day at the Capitol will be on the 25th. You can register to attend that event with us now. A special thank you to our sponsors for the event, Latham & Watkins, South by Southwest, Hampton Inn and Home 2 Suites, Austin East, Canopy by Hilton, Austin Downtown, and Sanjay Creative.
Yeah, it's a great time to have your voices heard. I will say this session, they're all bad, but there's not as big of a drumbeat of noise. I think a lot of the legislators have been told by their constituents, hey, here's a neat idea. How about you just do your job instead of worrying about all these cultural things and picking on. Plus, everybody's got a gay in the family nowadays.
It's true.
We know Thanksgivings and holidays can be a little rough. But yeah, I think the vast majority just want them to get down to doing the business at hand, balance the budget, pay the teachers, do the roads, make sure their trash is picked up and the police are paid. Right? Just let's stick to the basics and quit. So there are a good number of anti-LGBT bills. I'm not trying to discount the harm that they are causing for folks who are having to combat these on a daily basis, but this is the way to have your voice heard. They are listening. And we've just got to give them kind of the fuel for the fire of what this impact is and what the economic impact is of these hateful pieces of legislation.
And it's those direct conversations, isn't it? Like in person, sharing your story that has the greatest impact.
It
I
is.
think more than, trying to make a ruckus on the interwebs.
Yeah, showing up and
having the conversation.
and being rude and having, banners all over the Capitol and making a mockery of kind of the state government that you're trying to get to listen to you is not a good approach.
Yeah. Not really effective of touching those hearts and minds,
Show up,
is it?
look professional, look like your audience. This is just like any other business transaction. Look like your audience, be prepared, tell them where you live, who you are, what district you're in, and that you're a tax-paying registered voter.
Yep.
And you are just on par as everybody else who walks in that building. So come join us for Day at the Capitol. You won't be alone. It's a great time to make your voice heard.
And good community building.
And don't be anxious. We will walk you through all of
Yeah.
the steps. Make sure you know who your representatives are, where their offices are, and what you should say to them.
Yes.
And on March 29th, you can join us as we return to Lockhart for Small Town Big Pride.
Yay.
Registration for that event is open. You can meet us in Lockhart for free or pay $10 and hop on the Lockhart bus with us. There will be beverages on the bus.
Highly recommend the booze cruise.
We have a good time. We have a good time.
Yeah. Plus, that way you can have a good time when you're in Lockhart and we drive you back. Well, the sober driver.
Yeah.
Drives you back.
Not us.
Tina will not be driving you back. You're safe.
But it's a really good chance to show some support for LGBTQ owned and allied businesses outside of Austin. We have, gosh, I didn't look today. We had over 15 Lockhart members last time we visited. And I want to say there's going to be definitely more than 20.
Yeah, there's going to be more businesses that are part of the chamber there in Lockhart than you're going to have time to visit, but you'll have information about the different businesses. So hopefully you have a great time and you take yourself out and your friends out there again on another time and you know where to go. But it's
Get some barbecue, spend some money.
Some green sketty. If you know, you know.
You can also join us on March 31st for Trans Day of Visibility. We have 2 events that day. I also cannot talk. We have been listening to so many words this week. And I don't know how to make them come out anymore.
It's like South by Itis. We all have it.
We will have a virtual event and screening of the Emmy-nominated film Transgender at War and in Love.
Yay.
Followed by a panel discussion.
Yay.
We will also have an in-person happy hour that same day at 5:30 p.m. at El Reval.
Yep. Very excited for it and delighted of the people that are on the panel and doing it in collaboration with Equality Texas as well. So uplifting a very important story about trans service members and then having a discussion about the importance of trans visibility and also what's happening here at Texas and our legislature and how being visible can be empowering.
Yeah, there's some schmuck up there that's got a bill to try and criminalize, like literally make it a crime to be trans. That it's a fraud. You're committing fraud.
So strange.
Yeah, I'm going to guess he's got like the smallest little you've ever seen. That's why he's mad. I don't know. Fiona's tongue tied. She's like, I don't know what to say.
I don't know what to say to that because I'm not going to get on my educational soapbox.
Yeah.
But yes, Tina, I'm sure that he lacks. He
lacks the moral fortitude.
Max moral fortitude, and he's got very low self-esteem.
And he's.
We're trying, y'all.
The free booze was flowing all week at South by Southwest. Lots of panels, lots of discussions. We had some big heavy hitters in town. We had Elizabeth Warren in town.
Yeah.
Michelle Obama in town.
Chelsea Handler. We saw some members doing some really cool things. Just Works had a really cool activation at 310 ACL Live.
Yeah, I heard y'all had a good time.
Oh, yes. So much fun. I made a barbecue rub.
Oh. Like that's an actual spice, Fiona.
Yeah.
It's not a.
You know where you're going to rub it?
Yes. Yeah. And lots of members in the expo, lots of members walking around, attending sessions. Shout out to Mike with Agency Initiative. I keep seeing you in all of my same sessions, so I love that.
That's cool. Yeah. He was at our panels as well.
Yeah.
It's been a very, very community feeling South by Southwest.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
I did get to get bougie and hang out with the Taoiseach of Ireland, which is their version of a prime minister. Mm-hmm. I did learn a little bit more about their government process. I was talking to the ambassador there, and I said, well, how walk me through, and she's like, well, they take turns.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm like, what do you mean they take turns? She's like, yeah, the next 4 years the other party will be in charge.
No way. What?
And then the next 4 years, the other party will be in charge.
So basically, you vote for whoever's running, regardless of the party. If it's like this party's turn, so this is your choice.
It's their turn. And then the parliament's made up of the electorate percentage.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah, it's also probably why it's a very slow-moving government.
True. Are you thinking of running?
But could you imagine? Like, oh, no, here you go. It's your turn. Yeah. We can't even get the one guy to leave the building when he's out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that way you get to plan. And know a bit, and have a bit more stability. It's and being
civil.
Able to work together on how you're going to take what you did. Oh, this is what I did. How would you like to take this over?
No, because they want it to work out for the best of everyone in their country. It's wild thought.
I will say though, I watched years ago. I was watching on C-SPAN, and I think it was the Indian Parliament, and I watched them. So it was very much similar to like the British Parliament that most people have seen on TV, where it's the big kind of desk in the middle and the two sides, and everybody kind of jawing and making smart remarks back and forth, which I love.
Yeah.
But this one guy in the Indian Parliament, I think, had it, and they'd been arguing and throwing, verbal jabs back and forth. All of a sudden, he gets up from his chair, goes over to the guy that's been smarting off to him, and just starts beating him over the head with his cane. Like, could you imagine something like that?
Well, if Al Green had got closer,
right?
then maybe he would have
I was worried when he had that cane in his hand. I was worried.
That's way more intense than beach blonde, bad built, butch body.
Well, as always, we thank you for joining us and enduring our post-South by podcast. If you want to learn more about becoming a member of the Chamber, you can visit us at austinlgbtchamber.com. To be a guest or a sponsor, shoot us an email at info@austinlgbtchamber.com. Listen to our show every Friday, wherever you get your podcast. Be sure to follow. We'll see you next time.